Ursula von der Leyen is close to resigning as Europe turns against the European Union. Hello everyone and welcome to today's first video. Let's talk about Ursula von der Leyen's leadership as the head of the European Commission. Last week, she hasn't had a successful performance. The European Union tried to defend her. European countries turned on the European Union because of her lack of leadership. She came out, she said, everything's fine. There's nothing to see here. This is not a coup. But things got out of control. Now we are seeing European newspapers, European politicians, European member states turning against Ursula von der Leyen. Even the Germans are now against her. Her own country is against her because of the way she's handled the situation with the health crisis and how she's somehow blamed Britain for her own mistakes with AstraZeneca and the contracts, and how she almost closed the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, and she had to make a U-turn last minute. Now we are seeing a situation where the Telegraph initially reported it last night, saying that pressure mounts on Ursula von der Leyen as shortcomings brutally exposed by the EU vaccine fiasco. It started from here, and then we saw a number of European publications and Remainers, EU federalists, changing their mind about how the European Union structure works. They now want to criticize and ask for reform. They want democratically elected leaders. Oh, interesting. We've been saying that for the past few decades. They just didn't listen. But it continues because this article talks about how von der Leyen is now under pressure to resign. There's a massive move now against her in Brussels. She had taken personal responsibility for the AstraZeneca issue because she took full control. She took the whole power away from individual countries, Germany, France, Netherlands and Italy, who decided to sign their own contracts initially. And she said, no, I'll do it on your behalf and it's going to be absolutely fine. But she created a huge mess. Now, the hypocrisy of these people is that, firstly, they made this mess. They blamed the UK. And then they blamed AstraZeneca. Then they raided an AstraZeneca factory. Now she's getting close to finally being forced to resign, considering there's no accountability in the European Union. No one actually elected these people. The only way to do it is by using media pressure to call for their resignations. Now, the fiasco continued by having a number of other EU commissioners, including McGuinness, to come out to say that the decision to close the border or impose a hard border between Ireland and Northern Ireland, no one even told us. They didn't even tell their own EU commissioners. He said that on Friday this order was not brought to my attention. He continued by saying that how did the contract dispute with a company escalate to the potential closing of an international border? Well, McGuinness is absolutely right. You messed up your contract. You blame other people and other countries and the company, AstraZeneca. Then the solution is, let's find a random country that we don't like right now, Britain, and let's just close the border. How is that going to solve anything? We have no idea. This is pseudo-nationalism and protectionism on steroid. So this is how things kicked off. She's losing all the support that she had when she first became the head of the European Commission after taking control following Juncker's terrible performance. Now we have a lot of people in Brussels saying, Juncker wasn't that bad. I mean, he was a drunk and he was a bit weird, but he was a better manager than Ursula von der Leyen. So the honeymoon period is gone over the last year or so, and now this could be her last few days, unfortunately. Even top publications like JF from Germany are saying that opposition leaders in Germany are now calling for Ursula's resignation. So the head of the AfD has said that the EU failed across the board in getting the vaccine, while other countries such as Great Britain ordered larger quantities of vaccine months earlier. The EU, under Ursula von der Leyen's leadership, failed to take action in good time and then got bogged down hopelessly in contractual clauses with the pharmaceutical companies. Well, that is completely spot on. And it's interesting how over the last couple of decades, we hadn't really heard much about the EU scrutiny from the European Union. All the EU media outlets, most of them, the mainstream media in Europe, have always been either supportive or just decided to cover up the mess that happened in Brussels. These days, thanks to social media and the advanced blogs and independent media outlets, the pressure on the mainstream media in Europe has now forced them to be more robust. So now they're exposing the European Union themselves. We've had more German outlets, including NTV, to come out to say that von der Leyen embarrasses the European Union. Their own German politician, who was a failure as a politician when she was working under Angela Merkel in her government, she was a failure there. She's a failure now in Brussels, and now the Germans are turning on her because she's been absolutely terrible. So this is the problem with authoritarianism, because if you have one person taking full control, that means when things go wrong, all the blame will eventually go on to them, and they can't keep shifting the blame all the time. This is getting completely out of control, and even they know that at this point. So NTV is now against her. A number of other publications are against her. So NTV continues by including this paragraph in their article saying that in search of a scapegoat for the EU's messed up vaccine procurement, the Commission boss is relying on maximum escalation. But that doesn't solve a single problem. It just creates new ones. Keyword: Great Britain. The former member state is not responsible for the fact that the long-for vaccination doses only arrived in the EU in small amounts. Rather, the EU itself is to blame, which made contracts with the most promising vaccine producers too hesitant or backed the wrong horses out of national interests. This is really brutal. Seeing the European publications turning on Ursula von der Leyen, who again, they've all been cheerleaders of her and her team in the European Commission. A lot of people thought that with Juncker's departure and the new team, we're going to have people like Charles Michel and Ursula von der Leyen. Despite their dodgy past and corruption, they could be better managers. Clearly, they were wrong when you have the media in Europe turning against them now. This whole thing is so weird that obviously CTAM decided to also report this, because CTAM tried to avoid political gossip unless they know that something is serious. So they're also reporting that this pressure on Ursula to resign is actually serious. It's not just hearsay. It's not just a random gossip column on Daily Mail or something like that. And they've also quoted the Telegraph. Actually, in the Telegraph, there is a section where one of the diplomats from Brussels, she said that she needs to go now. They told us on the Telegraph. She told effing no one. After 4 years of tedious skullduggery over the backstop, surely the Commission could have thought of the optics. They're not really happy, are they? She told effing no one about what she was planning to do. So if diplomats in Brussels are losing patience, if the mainstream media in Europe are losing patience, and if member states and her own country, Germany, are losing patience, then this doesn't really look good for the credibility of the European Union. She's been very robust in terms of even unelected officials having accountability and resigning when they need to. We had Phil Hogan a couple of months ago, one of the a trade commissioner who had to resign because he broke the rules. He broke the EU rules on the current health crisis, and because they're not elected, they have to just resign. And she was, she came out and she said yes, Phil had to resign because that was the right thing to do.
Last night, Phil Hogan submitted his resignation from the post as Trade Commissioner. I respect this. I am very grateful to Phil Hogan for his tireless and successful work as a commissioner and as a member of the college, and I thank him warmly for his valuable contribution to the work of the Commission, not only in the...
This happened. We remembered that in a couple of months ago where he had to go, and she said, well, it was the right thing to do for him to resign. Maybe it's time for her to resign. The reason we say that is because even EU federalists, remainers, rejoiners, whatever you want to call them, they're losing patience. We had a number of tweets. This is my favorite. Someone saying that if there's one thing that the Article 16 story makes me think, is that we need a democratically elected European Commission president. Because in situations like these, we need true political accountability, which a compromise candidate agreed upon behind closed doors does not bring. They have discovered that the European Union doesn't do democracy. They are now calling for democracy in the EU, as if that's going to solve anything. That's not going to fix anything. Even if they introduce democracy in the European Union, it will just not be real. It's just going to be a fake election like in Iran, where they have elections, but it's not really election. Even the European Parliament is not a real parliament, let alone any elections that they're going to have. But it's interesting how they're all changing their mind. Sky News also came out. This is funny. Okay. Firstly, Sky News decided to do a story on this. Again, Adam Parsons, our favourite, clearly not biased. Interestingly enough, the title that he's gone with is Embarrassing Misstep that Ursula's done. Imagine if this were something that the UK government had done, or Brexiteers had done. The title, the headline would have been Dangerous Evil Move, Destruction, and how, these people are just pure evil. Whereas if Ursula does it, it's just an embarrassing misstep. It was an accident. Oops, she didn't mean it. Just embarrassing, right? Definitely not damaging, definitely not harmful. People in Europe are struggling right now because of her and her team. But Sky News are saying, oops, she did it again. This article, although, continues by talking about what's been happening, which is quite interesting. At first, it was about the sluggish approach to Europe's border controls, when nations have made their own individual decisions and ignored the Commission's call for a joint-up approach. Yes, this was a few months ago when she lost control of Europe's borders. Then came months of grumbles that Ms. von der Leyen and her team lacked dynamism when it comes to the political finesse. And yes, that was also a lack of leadership. Then obviously we had the Phil Hogan story where he had to resign. Then we had the issue with Hungary and Poland where the European Union and these countries clashed. And now we have Ursula's incompetence when it comes to the jabs and AstraZeneca. So that's true. This is a list of the recent issues that she's had. We've had even more. But in today's episode of Who is Femi and what he's thinking, let's go to Femi. I know a lot of people keep saying, why do you keep mentioning Femi? Don't give him airtime and platform. I don't care. It's funny. I'm going to keep exposing him. So just enjoy it. It's Sunday. So Femi says, it's the bias for me. UK government policy threatens the Irish peace process for 5 years. EU Commission policy threatens the Irish process for 5 hours. Guess who the Brexiteers think is worse? What is happening? He's got more examples. He's got the actor. He's going to elaborate on what he actually means by that 5 years and 5 hours thing. UK government breaks the Good Friday Agreement with Brexit. So he says Brexit as a concept, voting for it and implementing it, broke the Good Friday Agreement. No, I don't think I need to explain why that's not true. Everybody knows this. Even my 17-year-old sister knows that's not true. Seeks no deal, Brexit, that will also break it. No one actually did that. The UK government did not seek no deal Brexit. We know it now. It was part of the negotiations. It was part of the tactics. But even that wouldn't break the Good Friday Agreement. Refuses alignment with EU rules, making Northern Ireland Protocol necessary. Undermines it more. No, that was because of EU regulations and protectionism. They don't want to have smooth operations. It's their fault. And then it finally tries internal market bill, breaks it even. No, the internal market bill wasn't supposed to, it would never be supposed to be breaking anything. The Good Friday Agreement had nothing to do with the border in terms of there was nothing written in the Good Friday Agreement to say that there should not be a border. The agreement was both sides will decide, and whatever they decide, we'll go with it. And the consensus was there should not be any border because of the conflict. Simple. That's it. Now, if you could find me evidence, Femi, feel free to show me. And then it says the Commission 5 hours says they'll break it. And then, considering he decided to distance himself a couple of days ago, he's now changed his mind again. He's now pro-EU. Make up your mind, Femi. Now, this is all we have, but this is the last day, final day that you have until for you to use our special January discount code, Brexit10. No space, Brexit 10, 10. Use the special discount code to get your I Believe in Britain merchandise. You have until tonight, midnight, to use this special discount code. Check out the link in the description, Brexit 10, no space, and do that. And also, apologies again for yesterday, lack of live stream. We usually have our live streams on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. We had internet issues. It was absolutely chaotic here, so we couldn't do it. It's okay. Monday, tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. We're going to come back. And a number of people actually also have been asking how they can become a member, because I've been saying that they could become a member by just clicking on the link in the description. youtube.com/myITs/join. But you could actually, if you find the join button next to subscribe, it's under the video, each video, or on the main channel, on the main page, you should be able to find join. Depending on if you're on your mobile phone or on your desktop computer, you should be able to find it. Probably not on TV. If you're watching on smart TV, it wouldn't really come up. Yeah, check out the link, become a member, support the channel, and don't forget, as I said, tomorrow, live stream. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.